Hey everyone, this is a quick look at Yoda's Jedi Starfighter from the Clone Wars. Just when you thought that Clone Wars based sets were a distant memory, LEGO comes out with another one. This is 100% Clone Wars. This is the craft is commonly referred to as a modified Jedi Interceptor or Jedi Starfighter, modified from the Episode 2, Episode 3, ETA 2, Jedi Interceptor. However, it has a something completely different airframe. All of the shapes, all of the proportions are different on this from the ETA 2. And that's not a LEGO thing. That's actually how it was in the show. They showed it pretty clearly from different angles. And it's just not the same thing. So I don't choose to look at it as a modified ETA 2. I see it as a ETA 2.5 or ETA 1.75 or something. It's intended to be smaller and for smaller races of pilots to be able to fit in it, but they made everything else smaller as well. LEGO needed to make the canopy area, the main center fuselage, smaller, so they went with a brick-built design here rather than coming up with a new specialized mold, because previously they had used that same mold, large canopy, for all of the previous ones, and it worked really well. It was very well shaped, but now this is built up. Doesn't quite have the sleek nature. Of course, they have the TIE Fighter style front, which will fold down. I'll show you that in a minute, but some of the detail up here is missing, and some of how that kind of flowed on the original thing. I don't know how they could have done it better. I'm just pointing out, some things that are a little bit different. The wings, I think, look really nice from the outside. This is nice and smooth, and they don't have extraneous colors, unnecessary colors in here. For the most part, you don't see weird colors on this except for these two pins. Those two pins should have been black. They make the black pins. They've been making the black pins continually. They've never been discontinued, but they have kind of a rule about what colors to use for common parts, especially Technic things, in system sets. And unless a very compelling argument can be made, or unless the main designer knows the right person or the right people well enough, you can't override that. So, we just get those two that kind of stand out. You can replace them easily if you want. These are spring-loaded shooters. You can see the tails coming out the back. Those fire just by pushing on them, and you can leave them out if you want to. Obviously, they're close in on the fuselage, whereas the actual shots would be fired from these main cannons here. They also include an extra bolt for that in case you lose one or you just want to have one spare. This is where R2-D2 goes, where your astromech goes in general on this model. Definitely very different from the ETA 2, right? But this is appropriate. This is how it was shown in the show. And R2's head was supposed to stick up fully above the roof line, and it does here. So that's good. That's well done. The wings fold down, but there's still quite a bit of thickness there. I think they look good from the outside, nice and sleek. But when they're all folded, they're just kind of bulky. I don't know how you could have made that work out much better without really impacting the durability of this thing. You can pull these all the way out to vertical if you want to, and there's a little room to kind of mess with it. Angle them in a little bit while they're straight, angle them out a little bit. It's just a little bit of wiggle room for you to play around with different possibilities. You can go part way, you can fold just the bottom ones, do something like that. Mess around if you like different overall shapes. And then for accessing the pilot compartment, the front folds down and the top folds up. All this is hinged. That's nice. Gives very easy access to the interior, which has no detail in it, but I can get Yoda here and just stand him there. Very easy. He just stands. Bring this down. He's got plenty of room. Bring this up. He's got plenty of room. It works out just fine. I think that's about all there is to see with the craft. I'm very thankful that they did not go with the Clone Wars head for Yoda. They've stuck to the more realistic original trilogy and just cinematic universe version of him, but they have a simplified print for his clothes. So the torso print as a simplified, art style. R2D2, on the other hand, is just the normal version with his very common squiggly lines. This is very common with these parts, unfortunately. The registration is just not consistent. In other words, how those are lined up. And a lot of astromechs from Lego have lines that do just like that, which is really awkward, to say the least. Good prints on the back of Yoda, and they did the hair well. And I think this is pretty realistic looking for that art style. I feel like it's actually there. And of course, it comes with his lightsaber. Not really any good accommodation that I saw for him to put his lightsaber on the craft, when he's actually in it. But you can always break that down into a couple parts and kind of throw it into the canopy area with him. I'm glad Lego reached back into the Clone Wars era and made this model, because the thing got a decent amount of screen time, and I thought it was cool in universe. A little bit different, has a little bit different attitude to it, and I think they've done a pretty respectable job here. I appreciate everything being brick built on it and not relying on specialized parts except for the front, which totally makes sense. But it does lose a little bit in detail around the upper front area of the cockpit, but it's really needed. There's not much else that you can do there within the constraints of a set that's for 8 to 12, something that needs to have some durability, to still be able to get Yoda in there reasonably, to open up the whole thing, and to not fall apart during play. Let me know your thoughts about the set on the whole, and if you have any insight into the in-universe design history of this specialized interceptor, not modified, right? Keep in mind, YouTube likes to randomly unsubscribe people nowadays, and they don't always let you know when there is new content on channels that you are actually subscribed to. So if you want to see more videos from me, just check back on my channel on a regular basis, because a lot of new content is always on the way. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.